So there's this WNBA team who isn't even trying to hide it anymore. They want Caitlin Clark badly. Their interest isn't subtle, it's loud, it's clear, and it's constant. Stephanie White probably thought she had everything under control. She had Caitlin Clark, the league's brightest star, and things seemed lined up. But karma, oh, it doesn't wait. And now Clark's facing yet another groin injury. Suddenly those friendly meetings with New York Liberty's top brass don't seem so innocent after all. There's writing on the wall and it's getting bolder by the day. Inside the bowels of Barclays Center, Caitlin Clark was spotted with Liberty head coach Sandy Brondello, Brianna Stewart, and Sabrina Ionescu. Some might brush it off as casual, but others, they see a future being quietly negotiated behind the curtain. Could Clark already be mentally checking out of Indiana? It's not so far-fetched. Stephanie White's handling of her injury drama has been nothing short of chaotic. Clark's missed multiple games this season due to nagging groin issues. And White, she's been acting like it's no big deal. When your superstar's limping off the court and you respond with a shrug, you're playing a dangerous game. White even said, yeah, I mean, there's a level of physicality that they're able to play with against her. I knew it as an opponent and I see it now as her coach. I'm not exactly sure why, but it is what it is. And we've got to help her learn to adjust. That's it? That's the insight? The truth is, since day one, there's been tension. Clark wants the ball, needs the ball. White keeps pushing her off it, running a system that seems tailor-made to waste generational talent. 10 missed games, that's not a blip, it's a giant red flag. And when asked about Clark's injury, we went through semi-live drills. She hasn't gone full speed yet. That's your update? This is your star we're talking about. Reporters press further. Was there imaging? Is she gonna play the weekend game, especially with all-star events coming up? White responded with another brush off. No discussion yet beyond tonight. But here's the twist. Clark was crying on the bench. Cheers in public. She pulled herself out after a right groin tweak during the final minute of a win against the Sun. And White, she said Clark felt a little something. A little something? That disconnect is terrifying. And it's pushing Clark and her camp right into the open arms of New York. Here's where it heats up. New York Liberty is circling like sharks and Indiana's leaving blood in the water. New York Liberty's CEO Kaya Clark publicly praised Caitlin Clark for her explosive impact on business growth. She said Clark came in and lit a fire. That's not just flattery, that's a recruitment pitch hiding in plain sight. Let's rewind for a second. When Clark dropped 32 points, including a career-high tying 7 3-pointers against the Liberty, it wasn't just a win for Indiana. It was a billboard-sized statement. Healthy, confident, and focused, Clark is a force of nature. But instead of building on that momentum, more injuries, more minutes missed, and more baffling coaching from Stephanie White. After one recent game, Liberty stars Brianna Stewart and Sabrina Ionescu were seen meeting Clark post-game, again with coach Sandy Brondello. Coincidence? Please. Stewart isn't going anywhere. Neither is Sabrina. The Liberty core is locked. Add Clark and you've got the next WNBA dynasty. And here's the kicker. Clark chose Ionescu with the number 3 pick in the All-Star draft. That's not just respect, that's a coded message. She's aligning herself with New York stars publicly. Meanwhile, Stephanie White keeps pushing her system while her star gets ground down physically and mentally. She claims it's about balance, keeping Clark from pressing the full 94 feet, letting her play off ball. But Clark already told her how she thrives. I think we need to do a better job of getting me the ball in transition. Whether somebody is there or not, I think there's a fine balance of playing me off the ball and also getting the ball in my hands. That's when I'm the best in transition. White didn't adapt. Instead, she doubled down. The result? A dramatic drop in Clark's performance. Her worst 5-game stretch ever in field goal and 3-point percentage. And White's response? Total indifference. She says she's not worried about her shot. Are you serious? When your franchise player struggles, you change your system, not ask her to fit into one that's breaking her down. There's an elephant in the room, and it's got a contract clause. Clark's just in her 2nd season. She's got time to choose her future. And the Liberty? They're everything Indiana isn't. Stable, successful, and smart enough to know how to treat a generational player. Now, here's where the tension gets loud and visible. During a post-game meetup, Liberty stars Stewie, Sabrina Ionescu, and coach Sandy Brondello huddled with Clark. It looked like a reunion of future teammates, not rivals. Let's be blunt, Stewie's not leaving New York. Sabrina's locked in. Add Clark, that's a championship formula just waiting to explode. And guess what? There's already a 50-50 chance Clark leaves Indiana after her rookie season. That's not a wild prediction, it's becoming a real possibility. This isn't fan fiction. The Clark-Liberty connection keeps gaining steam. Remember, Clark picked Sabrina Ionescu in the All-Star draft. That's not just picking talent, that's signaling trust. Shared pressure, shared spotlight, shared future. You can feel the growing divide between Clark and the Fever. Her respect for the Liberty core is crystal clear, but with Indiana, that trust is fading fast. Stephanie White's strategy doesn't help. She says she wants 2 primary ball handlers. Translation, she doesn't want Clark to run the show. She says it's to keep Clark from full court duress, but let's call it what it is: coaching cowardice. Instead of building around a once-in-a-lifetime player, she's putting guardrails on greatness. And the results? Ugly. The Fever are 5-5 without Clark, and when she plays, they still can't figure out how to use her right. She's not just another role player, she's the future of the league. But White? She's out here talking about ball movement and spacing like this is a strategy seminar, not the WNBA. Clark's frustration is boiling over. The stats don't lie. She's shooting worse, moving less, and losing rhythm. And what does White say? I like the way our offense flows. Flows? Clark's in pain, her percentages are tanking, and the coach is raving about rhythm? That's not leadership, that's negligence dressed as tactics. What's worse? This team is completely dependent on Clark, but treats her like she's disposable. Liberty smells it. They're circling. They've got the culture, the chemistry, the vision. And Indiana, they've got excuses. If the Fever don't wake up soon, their biggest nightmare will come true. Clark in a Liberty jersey, torching them from across the court. Let's talk numbers and power. When Clark returned from injury to face the Liberty, 2.22 million people tuned in. That's not just a big number. It tied for the second most watched WNBA game all season. Caitlin Clark is appointment television, yet her own coach acts like she's just another body in the lineup. And it gets worse. After a dominant Fever win over the Aces, White couldn't even acknowledge Clark's leadership, from the bench no less. Instead, she went on about defensive effort. No credit, no spotlight, just silence. Clark's presence alone lifts this team, and White can't see it? Now here's where it all gets real. See that person standing next to Clark postgame? That's not just a fan or assistant. That's Clark's agent. Her agent, having quiet conversations on the court with Liberty players. You think that's a coincidence? Let's not pretend. The All-Star game? Guess who's coaching Clark's team? Liberty head coach Sandy Brondello. This isn't random, it's exposure. It's Clark getting a taste of what real star-centered coaching feels like. And then White drops this baffling line about Clark's return. She hasn't gone full speed yet, still working through phases. Still, after all these weeks and missed games, that's a red flag the size of Indiana itself. Any competent coach would have figured out how to manage their stars' workload ages ago. But White? She's still trying to puzzle out how to integrate Clark into an offense that's actively hurting her. And just when you think it couldn't get worse, White says, "Our biggest concern is how we keep our ball movement when we bring her back." Seriously? Your biggest concern should be getting your franchise player healthy and letting her dominate, not keeping your outdated system intact. Meanwhile, New York, they've got Brianna Stewart and Sabrina Ionescu and built a system around them. They don't try to force stars into a mold, they build around greatness. That's what winning teams do. Clark's had enough. The tears on the bench weren't just from pain, they were from frustration. She's watching her career mismanaged in real time. When healthy, she had 14 points and 13 assists, and the Fever dropped a franchise record 64 points in a half. She's magic when unlocked, but under White's watch, that magic is fading fast. Let's talk all-star chaos. When asked if Clark would play, Stephanie White shrugged again. Her response, Caitlin and her team will make decisions. It's a big deal, all-stars in Indianapolis. Translation, not my problem. Instead of leading, she passed the buck. Again, White acts like All-Star Weekend is a photo op, not a critical moment for her player, and the Liberty, they're watching. They've got the structure, the veteran leadership, and the smarts to actually care for talent. Compare that to Indiana's circus. They've got the most marketable player in the sport and still can't figure out how to keep her healthy. That's negligence, plain and simple. And here's the kicker. White keeps saying things that show she doesn't get it. She talks about system fit, about baseline ball movement, and how the offense should run without slowing down. But she's missing the obvious. Clark is the system. Other teams dream of having a player like her. Meanwhile, the Fever are trying to mold her into a cog. That's backward thinking. It's like giving someone a Ferrari and then making them drive it like a golf cart. The Liberty, they adapt to stars. Stewart, Ionescu, they shine because their system lets them lead. They thrive. And Clark, she's stuck taking hits, riding the bench, and waiting for a coach to finally listen. The emotional toll is undeniable. Clark's body language, crushed. The towel over her head after her latest injury, that was not just a groin pull, that was heartbreak. She knows she's being misused. She knows the league is watching. And now her team is watching her slip away, slowly but surely. Every game she misses, every post-game comment that dodges accountability, accountability, every system-first quote from White, it's all pushing Clark further from Indiana. She didn't sign up for this. She signed up to lead, and if Indiana won't let her, she'll find a franchise that will. And Liberty, they're already setting the table. Let's rip the Band-Aid off. Clark's agent isn't smiling courtside for fun. Those conversations with Liberty players, that's movement. That's groundwork for a future shift. Agents don't waste time with networking when a client is injured, frustrated, and clearly underutilized. And the timing? It's perfect for New York and a disaster for Indiana. Clark's agent is doing their job, looking out for her long-term success. And that job might not include the Fever for much longer. Let's go back to White's worst moment. Minimizing a serious groin injury with the phrase, "a little something." Clark was in tears. That's not a tweak, that's not soreness, that's a player saying, "help me." And White, she all but said, "walk it off." That kind of tone-deaf coaching drives wedges and sends agents straight to the phones. Meanwhile, the Liberty are operating on a whole different level. They build around stars. Stewart, Ionescu, soon maybe Clark. They don't try to reinvent stars, they elevate them. And Indiana, they're trying to fit Clark into their already broken puzzle. It's coaching malpractice. White keeps referencing system this, movement that, spacing here, but it all boils down to this: if you don't build around your superstar, someone else will. Clark's frustration is visible. She's emotional, injured, misunderstood, and watching a better run team basically throw her a lifeline. Her agent sees it, the Liberty see it, even casual fans can see it. Indiana, they're still clinging to a blueprint that never worked in the first place. White's refusal to adapt isn't just stubborn, it's destructive. And the longer it continues, the higher the risk that Clark says enough is enough. And that Liberty jersey she's been eyeing, it won't just be a rumor, it'll be reality. And the Fever will be left wondering how they blew the biggest opportunity in WNBA history. This whole saga, it didn't have to happen. Stephanie White had a golden opportunity. She had Caitlin Clark from day one. A generational talent, a marketing dream. And instead of building something historic, she's fumbling it away. This isn't just poor coaching, it's a full-blown implosion. Let's look at every great coach-superstar relationship. The key? Respect. Adaptation? The coach molds their system to maximize the star, but White, she's asking Clark to squeeze herself into a box that was never built for her. No wonder the results are unraveling. Clark's body has taken hit after hit, but so has her spirit. She entered the league unstoppable, confident, but now, the groin injuries, the inconsistent minutes, the public indifference from her coach, it's wearing her down, and it shows. White keeps obsessing over structure, but she's missing the point. The structure is collapsing because it's not built for its cornerstone. And all the while, Liberty is watching and planning. Clark's agent isn't flirting with New York by accident. That's a signal. That's strategy. You don't keep standing in a burning house when the neighbors are offering a mansion and a fire extinguisher. The worst part? Indiana had everything. The momentum, the spotlight, the player. But instead of lifting Clark, they boxed her in. And now they're watching that box catch fire. Every decision White makes that sidelines Clark, every injury mismanaged, every tone-deaf quote adds fuel to the fire. Clark doesn't need promises. She needs proof. And Liberty, they're offering that on a silver platter. There's still time for Indiana to course correct, but the clock is ticking fast. Because the moment Clark feels like the Liberty understand her better than the Fever ever did, it's over. And when that jersey changes from Indiana blue to New York teal, no one will say it came out of nowhere. They'll say, "We saw this coming a mile away."